Hey everyone, and welcome back to Daily Kaylee for my 24th episode. As the first season comes to a close, I want to talk about a case that is very close to home for a lot of us, and oftentimes extremely difficult to talk about. Today's episode is about Evelyn Boswell and her mother, Megan Boswell. For a lot of you, your story with Megan may not have began until last year when the tragedy of Evelyn's death became public knowledge. For me, my story with Megan began in the late winter of 2014 going into spring of 2015. Megan is a couple years younger than me, and we actually met over Facebook at first through a mutual friend that we shared. Not too long into our friendship, we began meeting up at the mall pretty regularly after school. At first, Megan seemed like a very genuine friend. She was always there to listen. She seemed to be full of life and wanted to have fun. Over time, I began noticing a few things about Megan that did not add up to that idea of her that I had in my head. At first, I tried to ignore them and thought maybe I was just reading the situation incorrectly. But as time went on, I distanced myself from Megan, and I'm happy to say that I followed my gut and I did that. Megan turned out to be a very deceitful person. She is a compulsive liar and a master at manipulation. Even so young, it blew me away to see how twisted she could make certain things. I met her when I was 15, so she was at least 13. She was still in middle school at this time. She was so young, but something inside of her did not come off as a regular 13-year-old girl. Like I said, the more time that I spent around her, the more these strange, twisted colors would come out of her. I eventually stopped being friends with Megan Boswell because she had wronged me, like I'm sure she's wronged a few of you listening. She was just a very fake person, and she played the part of a true friend so easily that she must have done this to multiple other people our age. She lied constantly about everything. You could not ask her a straight question and get a real answer, no matter how simple the question was. She liked to play both sides in a lot of situations and go behind your back while doing the same to the other person. She always wanted what someone else had, and she would do anything to get it, regardless of how close you were supposed to be. So I cut ties with Megan, and I made a pact with myself to not speak to her again. People on the outside that had known both of us, they did not know the extent of what had happened, but like I said, Megan plays the part so well that they assumed I was overreacting and thought I was crazy for holding a grudge. I held this grudge up until the year that Evelyn was born. I watched her become friends with people over the years, and in the back of my mind was that 13-year-old girl that I met, and I just wondered if she was still the same that she was then, and something in my gut told me that she had to have been. And I kept my grudge. When Evelyn was born, she would post these photos of her on Facebook and talk about how much she loved Evelyn and how proud she was to be a mom. And seeing her in that light, it allowed me to put my guard down and start to accept her back into my life. We did not become close friends again, but we would share messages every now and then, and we would share likes on Facebook, and I told her in a message once that I do forgive her, and that I'm sorry that I held a grudge for so long. Because, like I said, she seemed like a changed person. It seemed that Evelyn had changed her in a sense. I was wrong. And once again, she dragged me into her games. But over the course of the almost year and a half that Evelyn was with Megan, she would reach out to me, someone who had not been friends with her for years, 5 or 6 years. And she would ask me for money for Evelyn, for diapers or for baby food, formula. And even though I was not close with Megan, I felt that it was something I needed to do, not for Megan, but for Evelyn. And over the course of a few months in 2019, I want to say this began in March or April, and it went on until about the end of summer in 2019. She would regularly message me asking for money for diapers or for formula, and I would send it. I was working. It was not harming me in any way to send this money to her. But I noticed that when I sent her the money, I sent it over PayPal, and she had me send it to her mom's account, Angela Boswell. After sending her this money, she would not message me again. She would not say thank you. It was just done. And then the next time she needed something, she would strike up a conversation for a few minutes, and then she would ask. And I am in no way shaming mothers who do need help and do reach out to people that they know. This is just a completely different situation, especially given all of the things that have happened in the past year. Things that we've learned through the media and everything that happened to Evelyn Boswell. I've reached out to a few of Megan's other friends that knew her long after I did, the friends that I saw her making throughout high school. And the majority of them agree with me that she is a very deceitful and manipulative person, and that it did not surprise them when all of this came out. I won't mention their names because I don't want to drag them into this without their permission, but I messaged 2 or 3 girls, and the ones that actually messaged back and wanted to talk about it with me, they all say that Megan had a criminal history before she was even the age of 18. She was a very twisted and sick person, and that you could tell she struggled with things internally with her mental health. And she was just not in the right mind to be a mother. Moving on from my experience with Megan, the things that I've just talked about, I want to tell you the facts of the case. And I'm hoping that you can use these facts to kind of piece together your theory of what happened to Evelyn Boswell. The first time the media heard of Evelyn Boswell's disappearance was February 19th, 2020, when an official Amber Alert was sent out for her. At this time, it was believed that Evelyn had not been seen since late December of 2019. It was Megan's father, Tommy Boswell, who reported her missing. Tommy said that he had not seen her since Thanksgiving of 2019, and that he had contacted Angela, Evelyn's grandmother, Megan's mom, and the day that he called to report her missing, he called Angela first and told her what he was doing. And he said he is going to find his granddaughter. He has not seen her in months, and he's worried. Reportedly, this is what Tommy says. He said that Angela replied to him and said, "You will regret this." He called anyway, and like I said, Evelyn was officially reported missing on February 19th, 2020, and an Amber Alert was issued for her. February 20th, 24 hours later, the TBI still had no information, and they released more photographs of Evelyn, hoping that this story would reach more people and someone would know something. On February 21st, the TBI reported that they had received information that they were currently investigating. This information was about a gray BMW, and that the individuals who were traveling inside of this BMW had information about Evelyn's whereabouts. They did not release any names or any other backstory about the gray BMW, just that if you see this tag number, call us. They continued to share more photos of Evelyn, and we waited. Also on February 21st, Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy did a press conference with the media, and he told them that he and his team had received multiple conflicting reports about when Evelyn disappeared. The first report stated that Evelyn was last seen the day after Christmas on December 26th of 2019. However, Sheriff Cassidy told the media that a babysitter had came forward and claimed that the babysitter had seen her on December 10th or 11th, and upon investigation, the babysitter's story seemed more accurate than this first report. So now they've changed the date of disappearance from December 26th to December 11th, 2019. At this time, they came out and said that both of Evelyn's parents, Megan Boswell and Ethan Perry, were both involved in this investigation. Ethan Perry, Evelyn's father, is in the military, and at this time he was stationed in Louisiana. Megan had complete custody of Evelyn, and Ethan had no idea that she was missing and that she had not been with Megan for the past couple of months. This is also when Sheriff Cassidy came out and said that some of the information that Megan was giving authorities was not accurate whatsoever. He did not elaborate on what this evidence was, but Sheriff Cassidy said that he had video evidence and eyewitness testimonies that proved Megan's story was incorrect. At this time, they still believed that Evelyn Boswell was indeed alive. As of February 21st, 48 hours into this investigation, the TBI said they had received more than 300 leads, but none of them developed into anything substantial. Later that day, Megan Boswell first spoke with the media. In this interview with WCYB, Megan told the reporter that she knew who had Evelyn, and the reason that she did not initially contact the police and report her missing is because she was afraid that person would run off with Evelyn. She said that this person is someone that she trusted to watch her daughter while she was working. Late in the evening of February 21st, a few hours after Megan had done this interview, the TBI came out and said that the gray BMW had been discovered in Wilkes County, North Carolina. It was later reported that the two people that were wanted in connection for information to Evelyn Boswell were indeed Angela Boswell, Megan's mother, and Angela's boyfriend, William McLeod. When they were found with the gray BMW, they were arrested for vehicle theft, and this is when things turn a really weird corner. The gray BMW belonged to Megan's boyfriend's mother, All of these people are connected. Megan's boyfriend, Hunter, he has done a few interviews, and he claims that Megan and Hunter only dated for a few weeks in December of 2019. However, multiple family members of Megan have also done interviews, and they claim that this is completely false and that he is underplaying the story. Megan's last name on Facebook was Wood, as in Hunter Wood, her boyfriend. I feel like if you were only dating someone for a few weeks, you would not go to the extent of changing your last name on Facebook. And I could be wrong, but in my opinion, that is just something that you would reserve for a more serious relationship. And by the way Hunter was talking in his interview, it was not serious whatsoever. Hunter also claimed that he had never seen Evelyn, and he had only seen photos of her. And as far as he knew, Evelyn was with her father, Ethan, in Louisiana. He did not ask questions, and he believed Megan's story. It later came out from Megan's grandfather, Angela's father, when he did an interview for the media. He says that in February, 2 months after Evelyn's disappearance, that Angela was living with him for a few weeks. And he said while she lived there for those short weeks, Megan and Hunter were there every single day to see her. He said that he witnessed Hunter give Angela the keys to the gray BMW that was reported stolen, and that he witnessed the conversation take place of them setting up a time for Angela to get the title. Based on this information, you can assume that this car was either a gift to Megan's mother or she had paid for it. And it was not reported stolen until after Evelyn's disappearance came about. I would also like to point out that if Megan's mother, Angela, had information about the disappearance of Evelyn Boswell, why would Megan be hanging out with the person who knows the whereabouts of her missing daughter for every day for 2 weeks? No one's story in this case adds up, but if you have not already, you will find that out for yourself throughout the rest of the information I have to give you. On February 24th, 2020, Megan Boswell did another interview with CBS. On February 24th, 2020, Megan Boswell did another interview with WJHL, and she told reporters that her mother, Angela, had taken Evelyn to Mendota, Virginia. In this interview, according to Megan, she told the TBI where to find Evelyn in Mendota. She told reporters that Angela had taken her to a campground in a silver camper. And Megan stated that if the TBI does not go and get her tonight, she's going to go and find her herself. She said that the TBI was not taking her seriously, but they told her she could not go find Evelyn herself at this point in the case because she would be tampering with evidence. Later that evening, WJHL reported that the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office had indeed went to Virginia, and they had searched the Mendota campground, but they found nothing and no evidence that Evelyn was ever there. The following day, on February 25th, 2020, Megan did another interview, and she told the reporter for WJHL that she had volunteered to do a polygraph, but they would not allow her to do one because she was pregnant, and it was policy that you cannot give a pregnant woman a polygraph test because it puts your body under stress. The sheriff's office spoke out and stated this was false information, and that the sheriff's office did not have a polygraph test, and they did not have access to give her one, and that she had essentially made this up. A few hours after her interview on February 25th, 2020, Megan was officially taken into custody, and she had been charged by the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office with false reporting. At this time, her bond was set at $25,000, and she was being held at the Sullivan County Jail, which is 5 minutes from my house. The following day, on February 26th, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office held a press conference. During this conference, they stated that every single time they talk to her, her story changes. I quote, "I'm serious when I say that, every single time." Not too long after this conference ended, around 1:40 p.m. on February 26th, investigators in Wilkes County, North Carolina, received a tip, and they have not released exactly what this tip entailed, but upon receiving this tip, they searched a pond in Wilkes County, North Carolina, and this pond is on the property owned by William McLeod's grandmother. If you don't remember from earlier, William McLeod is Angela Boswell's boyfriend. They searched the pond for hours, and it was ultimately inconclusive. They did not find anything in the pond. They did, however, speak to William McLeod's grandmother, and she stated that earlier that day, William McLeod and Angela Boswell had arrived. She stated that on the day that Angela Boswell and William McLeod were arrested for vehicle theft in North Carolina, they came to her house to ask for gas money, and she noticed that William's feet were soaking wet. She asked him why his feet were wet, like any grandmother would, I'm sure. And he had a story that they were staying at a hotel and the pipes burst, and that's why his feet were wet. This makes me wonder if it was his own grandmother who called in a tip. She spoke to reporters the afternoon that they searched the pond, and they asked her if she thought her grandson, William McLeod, was involved in the disappearance of Evelyn Boswell. And she said that he is devious enough to do it. Later that evening, William McLeod had his own interview, and in his interview, he stated that he had only seen Evelyn once or twice since he began dating Angela Boswell about 6 months prior in June 2019. He offered to do a polygraph, and he also offered his DNA to investigators. On February 27th, 2020, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office finally addressed questions about the truthfulness of Megan Boswell's pregnancy. Captain Andy Seabolt from the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office said, "I cannot confirm or deny her pregnancy. What I can tell you is that the jail medical staff keeps track of pregnant inmates for obvious purposes. On Monday, February 24th, there were 4 pregnant inmates. On Tuesday, February 25th, there were 4 pregnant inmates. Megan Boswell was booked in at 9:19 p.m. on Tuesday. The pregnant inmate count went to 5 on Tuesday, February 25th at 11 p.m. when a pregnant woman was booked in. On Wednesday, February 26th, the pregnant inmate count was 5 total." Based on this weird way of going about things, it is very clear that Megan Boswell was indeed not pregnant and was lying, I guess, in hopes of getting out of a polygraph. Megan's father, Tommy Boswell, her brother, and her grandmother on her father's side own property in a trailer park in Bluntville, Tennessee. They own these properties and they rent them out not only to multiple family members, but to civilians as well. On February 28th, 2020, investigators confirmed publicly that they were looking into a mobile home in Blunteville, Tennessee. The man who lived in this mobile home is identified as Zachary Warfield, and he said that he saw officials digging up some soft ground near his house, and he said they took something from the scene. On March 2nd, 2020, 2 weeks after Evelyn was reported missing, Megan Boswell appeared in court before a judge and was officially charged with false reporting. She requested to lower her bond from $25,000 to $10,000, and this request was denied. At this time, her next court date was set for May 8th. On March 4th, 2020, 2 days later, William McLeod and Angela Boswell had their court date for their vehicular theft. They were released and they were required to wear an ankle monitor. Two days later, on March 6, 2020, the TBI announced that they had found remains on the property of the mobile home that they had searched a few days before, and that they believed these belonged to Evelyn Boswell. On March 9th, 2020, Megan Boswell made her first appearance since the remains that were believed to be Evelyn's were found. The judge raised her bond to $150,000. During the hearing, investigators from the TBI revealed details about what else they found during the search that led to the discovery of her remains. A TBI special agent by the name of Brian Fraley testified in court that when he had interviewed Megan Boswell previously, she had made several false statements, and this cost the TBI crucial time during this investigation. Brian Fraley said that the body of a child approximately 1 year to 1.5 years old was found during the search at this mobile home. Before they found the remains, they found clothing that matched the description of the clothes Evelyn was last seen in, as well as other clothing, toys, and diapers. On March 11th, 2020, the TBI confirmed that these remains were indeed Evelyn Boswell's. After this information was made public, a judge ordered that all court documents about Evelyn's autopsy be sealed from here on out. The next big piece of information we have received on this case came out on May 6, 2020. The Sullivan County Sheriff's Office said that a person of interest was being investigated in relation to the death of Evelyn. As of that day, they had still not received autopsy results. On May 21st, 2020, the Sullivan County District Attorney's Office confirmed that a grand jury had indicted Megan Boswell on 11 counts of false reporting charges. A few months later, on August 19th, 2020, it was announced that Megan Boswell was indicted on 19 counts. Not only the 11 counts of false reporting, but also 2 counts of felony murder, and at this time, her bond was raised to $1 million. This case is still under investigation, unfortunately, and Megan Boswell has definitely not seen her last day in court. Members of the Boswell family have since come forward with a statement, and the statement says, "The immediate Boswell family, excluding Angela Jones Boswell, of Evelyn, are in anguish and grief over their loss. It has been a very rough and trying time for everyone. At this time, they do not want to speak publicly in regards to the tragedy. They are still trying to process what has happened. They ask for media and the public to respect their wishes. They need more time to grieve privately." And I think the statement can go for a lot of us who are still wondering what happened to Evelyn and when she will find justice. Thank you all for watching. I hope I touched on this as sensitively as I can, and I hope you enjoy this episode and it sheds some light on the situation. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.